boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NCAA College Football Week Uno. Last week, Week 0, there were 7 games. That was 5-2 on the straight-up picks. 4-3 against the spread, 4-3 on the over-under, which is 13-8 overall, 61.9%. My goal is about 60, so we're a little bit above there. Same way with the CFL. And then earlier in the year, I did all the XFL and all the USFL. So, hey, we are batting 1,000 in 2023 football. All right, we have 21 games here on Week 1. A lot of these games are going to be blowouts. The first couple of weeks, you kind of have the top teams playing the lower teams. So we're going to have some blowouts here. But definitely check out the topic video I did about realignment. I've actually done this in the video a few times. I kind of redo it a little bit each time. There's some new schools added to get to 133 FBS schools. First game out of the ACC, we have the NC State Wolfpack, who were 8-5 last year, going up against the Connecticut Huskies, who are 6-7. NC State's favored by 14.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 47. If you are new to Robert Sports Show, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at Rob Sports Show. I do straight up picks against the spread and the over/under. Central Michigan Chippewas went up against the Michigan State Spartans. MAC versus Big Ten. Spartans were 5-7 last year, while the Chippewas were 4-8. Michigan State is favored by 14. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 45. Next up, we have out of the American, the East Carolina Pirates, who were 8-5 last year, versus the Big Ten 13-1 Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is favored by 36. I got the Wolverines winning, covering, and under on 51.5. Out of the Big 12, the 5-7 West Virginia Mountaineers going up against Big Ten's 11-2 from last year, Penn State Nittany Lions. The Lions are favored by 20.5. I got Penn State winning. I got West Virginia covering the 20.5, and then over on the 50.5. North Carolina versus South Carolina, Tar Heels versus the Gamecocks, ACC versus SEC. Carolina was 9-5 last year, while South Carolina was 8-5. The Tar Heels are favored by 2.5. I actually have them winning, covering, and under on the 64.5. The Ohio State Buckeyes, out of the Big Ten, 11-2, going up against the division rivals, the Indiana Hoosiers, who were 4-8 last year. Ohio State is favored by 30. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 59. The Ball State Cardinals, 5-7 out of the MAC versus the Kentucky Wildcats. SEC 7-6. Kentucky is favored by 26.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 49.5. The 3-9 out of the Sun Belt, Arkansas Red Wolves going up against the Big 12 Oklahoma Sooners, who were 6-7 last year. Now, in 2024, Oklahoma will be moving to the SEC. And I talked about that in the realignment video. We get a lot of realignments coming up here. Pac-12 will have like 5 teams next year as of right now. A bunch of teams went into the Big 10, the Big 12. I think the Power 5 conferences are pretty much going to be only down to 4, but I think those 4 are going to be so overloaded, they're going to counteract one another. I know we go to 12-team playoff next year. I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of weird. I think that first year is just going to be all over the place. I have a feeling, because I think the idea is for the Power 5 conference champions to get in, and then 7, so that's 5 out of the 12, or 12. I think those 7 at-large bids are going to come from SEC and Big 10. Maybe the Big 12, like 3 apiece. I don't know. It's going to be weird. That's all like my realignment idea. Definitely check that out. But Oklahoma, favored by 35.5. I got the Arkansas Red Wolves covering, and then under on the 58. Next up, the LSU Tigers, who were 10-4 out of the SEC last year, going against the 10-3 ACC Florida State Seminoles. LSU is favored by 2.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 56.5. The ACC is well represented here. Clemson versus Duke. Clemson Tigers, Duke Blue Devils. 11-3 for the Tigers, 9-4 for the Blue Devils last year. Clemson's favored by 13. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 55.5. University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners. Last year, Conference USA, 11-3. This year, moving to the American Conference. Houston, last year in the American Conference, 8-5. This year, moving to the Big 12. The Roadrunners are favored by 1.5. I got them winning. Hold on. So the Roadrunners are favored by 1.5. I actually took Houston to win, so I got Houston plus 1.5 over on the 60. Rice Owls, 5-8 out of the Conference USA last year, moving to the American Conference this year. Texas Longhorns, 8-5 in the Big 12. Next year, moving to the SEC. Longhorns are favored by 35. I got Rice covering and over on the 59. Alabama Crimson Tide, 11-2 out of the SEC, going up against the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, who are 8-5 in the Conference USA. Alabama's favored by 39. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 51.5. The 1-0 Massachusetts Minutemen, coming off a 1-11 season last year, going up against the Auburn Tigers, who are 5-7 in the SEC. Auburn's favored by 35. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 51.5. The Washington State Cougars, 7-6 last year in the Pac-12, going against Colorado State Rams, who are 39 in the MAC. Washington's favored by 11. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 54.5. Nevada Wolfpack going up against the USC Trojans. Nevada out of the Mountain West, 2-10 last year. USC in the Pac-12, 11-3 last year. Moving to the Big Ten next year. So that Big Ten next year is going to be coast to coast, which I actually think is a downfall of the Big Ten for next year. I don't think that's going to work as well as people think it is. Yeah, it spreads the country out, but still, I don't think you need one conference having coast to coast. I think college football needs to be more regionalized. It needs to be more divisional. 8 conferences, 16 divisions. You have your conference finals, which is your first round of your playoffs, so 16 teams make playoffs. You have your 8 teams, or you can call it whatever you want, ever how you want to word it. I say 8 conferences, 16 divisions, your conference finals, division plays division, 8 teams in your playoff. You rank those not by a committee, you rank those by stats, and then you do 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, etc. And that's how you do your playoffs. You have 8 teams, the highest seed plays the lowest seed, is still active, boom. Make those your bowl games. But USC is favored by 38. I got Nevada covering and then under on the 67. The Big 10, Big 12, 8-5. Texas Tech Red Raiders went up against the Mountain West 7-6 Wyoming Cowboys. Texas Tech favored by 14.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 15.5. Coastal Carolina out of the Sun Belt, 9-4 last year, versus the UCLA Bruins, who were 9-4 in the Pac-12 last year, moving to the Big Ten next year. So kind of a lame duck year in the Pac-12 for them. They were favored by 14.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 66. The Oregon State Beavers out of the Pac-12, 10-3, going up against the 0-1 San Jose State Spartans. Spartans were 7-5 last year in the Mountain West. Oregon State is favored by 16.5. I got Oregon State winning, San Jose State covering 16.5 and under on the 55.5. The California Golden Bears going up against the North Texas Mean Green. North Texas 7-7 in Conference USA last year. In the American Conference this year, possibly moving to the ACC next year. That's a mouthful. California Golden Bears playing in the Pac-12, 4-8 last year. California's favored by 7. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 54. And then last but not least, the Florida Gators out of the SEC, 6-7 last year, going up against the Utah Utes, who are 10-4 in the Pac-12. Next year, moving to the Big 12. Utah's favored by 4.5. And I got them winning, covering, and over on the 64.5. So that is week 1 of college football 2023. We got 21 games for you. And we will see you next week for week 2. We'll have NFL week 1 next week. We'll have CFL week 12 this week. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. And don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports and content.